Hi, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Well, folks, this video is going to be the final in the mostly long-term review of my BarRaz Damascus utility knife. I've been carrying this around for a week and some change. It has become a part of my everyday carry, which I would never have thought, being as kind of poor a kid as I was, and, maintaining that trait as an adult, I would be able to carry such a fine tool as the BarRaz, Damascus blade. I'm just not that guy. I will say, to this day, my favorite knife of all time is still my Cricket. But there are times when a longer blade is needed, and that is the weakness of that. And that's why, while you carry a neck knife for certain jobs, you need something just a little more stout for heavier tasks. And that is definitely accomplished with this. Now, as part of the review, I have used the tar of this, and I've used this like I would use any other knife, with no real mercy or kindness. This has been, I'm whittling things, prying things, and only today did I do, there's a tiniest bit of maintenance, because we got to talk about it. Damascus does have a reputation, and that reputation is that it rusts. If you carry it every day, it rusts. My good buddy Jim, who you see just about every week, he's down to every other week, but we'll forgive him that, recommended putting Vaseline on the inside of the sheath to help protect against that, which is a stout recommendation, but a little gooey and not normally how I roll. So I'll talk about this. As I said, I've carried this knife, and I did select purposely the wood handle. Now, the lighting's a little different, but you may notice that my wood handle now looks a bit darker, as is the coloring of my sheath. We're going to get into that. I carried this, I used it. It has held an edge dramatically well. It has stroked. I sharpen my edge. I believe a really good knife, you sharpen once and then you stroke forever. And actually, I've developed a technique of using denim, the side of your jeans. There's a way to do it where it will actually keep an edge quite nice. It's simple. It's one of those things that takes a little practice. But this thing, you can still feel, again, when you test a knife, lightly. Do not do this lightly. Do not do this lightly. Do not do it without extreme care. When you test a knife, let me see if I can get a good angle. You don't put the buddy. That's the edge. The edge is sharp. What you want to do is ever so slightly line the edge perfectly perpendicular and barely pat it perpendicular. If you do it perpendicular, what you will feel on a very sharp knife is the swirls and ridges of your fingerprint actually bumping along that edge. This is one of the ways that I prefer to test a sharp knife. Now, I will tell you, because this is actual Damascus, this is an acid trickery, there is a slight, what I would consider, microserration actually, to the blade from the folding process. So what you see on the back, and I don't know how clear it is, but that pattern in the blade causes, even when you sharpen it, the edge, I don't know if I can get the light to show it. Do you see the grain lines? It's much more prone to have grain lines than something that's more continuous, like tool steel or the fancy end stuff. What that means is it has an almost snagging feel on paper, at least in my experience. But I've also found that it acts like a micro saw, making this very efficient when you're dealing with wood. It's just a quirk of the knife, and I don't know if it's just this, but it seems to be, whenever I've handled Damascus, to be an ongoing theme. Again, comment below what you think. But, as I said, no mercy. I've pried more than you should with these. There is ever so slight, and I don't know if I can get the camera to show it. There was just the slightest bit. Oh yeah, I got perfect. A bit of wear lines, and that's from sharpening pencils. You sharpen a pencil, graphite tends to get in, and it makes the little lines. You can see it's a very distinct angle. You'll right in the middle of the sweet spot from me sharpening. So there's a little tiny bit of wear on that edge. Again, Damascus is a bit softer than tool steel. So I don't know. I'm going to show it because that's what I want to review. That's there. But other than that, I can't really. And there, I will show you. This is where there's a slight groove. That is from bumping into my seatbelt buckle while I drive. Because like I said, I've worn this thing everywhere I've gone. Used it for everything from letter opening to food prep. Whatever's handy, I've used it. But Nick, you said it rusts. Yours isn't rusty. What did you do? Well, when you're dealing with wood, 3 things. Metal, your ferrous metals, iron, steel, things like that. Wood, and leather. All 3 of these things benefit from a type of penetrating oil. It acts to preserve it, it acts to protect it, it drives the moisture out, replaces it. Wonderful stuff. And being that I am a man of a certain age and a certain tradition, it should not surprise you what penetrating oil I use. That's WD-40. Yes, folks, old-fashioned WD-40. I had what I call flash rust. It got a little rainy. This was in the sheath I'm carrying around. I pull it and I see just the slightest start on the spine of surface rust. So, what do? I hit it with the little WD-40, strop it on my jeans, just lightly abrade it. All came off. It was light surface rust. So I saturate it with WD-40. Rubbing it into the wood actually slightly darkened and better seals the wood. Ditto to the sheath. Now, this is an exemplary knife. Like I said, it has all the benefits, which is that solid weight, the history, the appearance, the, again, microstriations of cutting that you get in a Damascus blade. Has the slight weaknesses where it's prone to show wear just a bit more because it's not a mirror polished blade section. It just isn't. But I consider this exemplary knife. It's one of the finest I've ever had the pleasure of owning, and I'm thankful. That is all the good. There is one bad, and I have some problems with the sheath. The problems with the sheath, one was it's a leather sheath, so it did hold moisture. Now, I have treated that by my good buddy WD-40. I sprayed WD-40 on the inside, and it was funny because this leather was so dry, it actually just sucked it up. And I wish I recorded it. I actually watched the under the hardening, under the surface, actually darken, and it came up this lovely color. Now, there is one flaw and one concern, and that's the back end of the sheath. The back side of the sheath, this is ridden in my belt buckle, through a simple men's belt. When I got it, it was straight. It was very, very tight. Leather being leather, stretched. Now, that isn't a problem per se, other than you have to watch it because this leather is about half the thickness of the sheath leather, and once it stretches, it's even thinner. So there's a slight chance of it tearing off the rivet. It hasn't yet, but again, this is something I'm going to have to watch, which means it needs some reporting. That being said, and it was Garth and his wife. I'm sorry, I don't have their card in front of me, so the name is slipping off. I will put all their information back at the bottom of this video. What do I think of this knife? First off, their asking price was about half what I saw. So there's that. As I've admitted, I am incredibly hard on tools and weapons. And this is still very much a tool. like I said, there's a little bit of dinging. I know exactly how it came. It came from, it's because it's all on the outside. It came from being pushed by the seatbelt of my truck. If you got bone, or they have some really pretty like stone looking handles, the bone grip wouldn't show that, obviously. This is a fine weapon. This is a fine tool. The grip is incredibly positive. It is reliable. I have had no issue. Nothing is loose. Nothing is rattling. I'm just seeing the wear and tear of somebody who's incredibly, again, hard on their tools. I support them. I support what they stand for. I met Garth, and he's genuinely a good human being. You know, former law enforcement officer. He's taking care of his family. I respect that. I respect law enforcement officers. So please consider supporting them. If you're looking for this grade of tool, if you're looking for this grade of weapon, contact them. I can't really give better praise than that. So thank you. I'll keep carrying this because it's become like, part of me. So I can't, this has become part of my EDC. So that really is all anyone can really say about the quality of the tool. Thank you. If you like this, obviously this product, if you like videos like this, comment below, like this, share this, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you are a company and you want me to review your stuff, please contact me. We can work out something. I really want to help. I also want to shout out to my patrons. You two guys are the best guys in the whole world. I want to shout out to the guild. You guys work very hard to help me be able to do what I do for you and for the channel and the guild at large. So thank you. And as always, support your local swordmaster.